Thank you for liberating this town.
American World War II veterans, heroes returning to a city in the Czech Republic.
It's a celebration of liberty and free, and I think it's a celebration of United States.
Honored and remembered for their service and sacrifice.
It humbles me. It humbles me.
Makes tears come to your eyes, really.
And from Northeast Wisconsin, a new bond linking past and future generations.
When you listen to the people who continue to remember our soldiers and our America and our sacrifices, how could we not be touched by that?
This is Return to Pilsen, an American story.
Hello, I'm Mark Leland, and welcome to the city of Pilsen in the Czech Republic. Pilsen is known worldwide for its Pilsner beer and its beautiful architecture. But what you might not know is Pilsen has had a love affair with American soldiers since 1945. And it's that American story we're here to tell.
It was the beginning of May in 1945, and the end of World War II was near. The people of Pilsen were rising up against the last holdouts of the German Nazis, who had controlled their city for 8 years. But they needed help from the approaching American troops. The 2nd Infantry Division and the 16th Armored Division, both part of General George Patton's 3rd Army, rushed in to help, bringing at long last liberation to Pilsen and ultimately an end to the war. And now each year around the beginning of May, the end of World War II is remembered with a Liberation Festival in Pilsen, the 3rd largest city in the Czech Republic. It's located about an hour's drive west of the capital of Prague. There's music, public gatherings, and a parade. And yes, as you can see by the flags being waved, this festival is a resounding salute to the Stars and Stripes and American World War II veterans.
It's very rare. You know, it's been over 60 years, and they still honor the American forces and have wonderful celebration.
The biggest show of community support happens during the Convoy of Liberty. Thousands literally line the streets here to check out the World War II veterans and the military vehicles.
91-year-old Marion Kirkham is one of a handful of American veterans who made it to this year's festival. He served in World War II and has returned to Pilsen for several years now, where his brother died fighting to help the Czech people. He is amazed at the outpouring of love and support he and the others continue to receive.
They lost their freedom, so they know what it's like without freedom. And now they want to preserve that freedom. And they want their children to remember what freedom means. It's amazing to me.
Kirkham and the others are riding in authentic World War II Jeeps. In fact, all of the vehicles in the parade are from that era, painstakingly restored by local car clubs. And the young U.S. soldiers you see are actually Czech reenactors who take part out of a genuine love for America and those World War II veterans.
This is why we do it, to see, to meet these people, to tell them thank you very much for everything they did.
And if it's not military jeeps, it's the American flag. It can be found everywhere in Pilsen during this time of year, and permanently at a special memorial thanking America for liberating the city on May 6, 1945. The memorial can be found, fittingly enough, on America Boulevard.
What is it for you that keeps you coming back?
In one word, I could say the people.
The people.
The people.
It's a special bond?
Yes, because when we arrived here in 1945, May of 1945, I personally found the Czech people were so close to us
in hearts and minds, that it's a natural bond.
A bond the veterans and the Czech people say continues to grow stronger with time.
We really appreciate what they did. We know we are trying to do the same.
This is the place, it's really the nexus where the Czech dreams of freedom and the American commitment to freedom came together in 1945. And so even in all of the dark years that followed once the communist coup happened in 1948, even in all those dark years, this remained a silent, but at the same time loud monument to that shared Czech and American dream of freedom.
The collapse of communism in 1989 led Czech citizens to demand political change, and Pilsen residents found themselves free once again. They chose to publicly recognize the American veterans for their role in liberating the city decades earlier. Since 1990, the city has held a Liberation Festival, welcoming back World War II veterans, their families, and Americans in general to honor those who fought for the city's freedom and to pay tribute to the service and sacrifice of so many. But given the country's history, no one here takes freedom for granted, even after celebrating it for 24 years. Bob Newski of Northeast Wisconsin has been a visitor to the festival for several years.
And I think there's a little bit of a fear that things that were almost a certain thing have become a little uncertain. And I think we need to let them know that the U.S. is still behind helping the Czech people.
Na naše úžasné oslavy rok se těší.
All the citizens of Pilsen have been waiting eagerly for this moment to come again. They've been looking forward to another great celebration of the city's liberation.
The appreciation for America can be found everywhere you look in and around the city of Pilsen. Signs of support are everywhere.
Oh, I'm glad to see you.
And the message is passed down here from generation to generation.
I think they were big heroes because they rescued us from Germans or Nazis, and they helped us. They helped people which got away from the Soviet occupation.
Free at last.
But as fewer and fewer American veterans are able to return to Pilsen, new ideas from a new generation are emerging to keep the history alive.
The sacrifice that these men have made must not be in vain.
It was General George S. Patton whose Third Army pushed through Europe to Pilsen to liberate the people here, and it's Patton's grandson, George Patton Waters.
Thank you, Pilsen.
Who today returns to Pilsen in support of a college scholarship that bears his famous family name. It's an investment in the future of Pilsen, seen by the people here as another gesture of support from America.
I think even though the amounts aren't as, staggering amounts, it's the fact of doing something for somebody else, giving them an incentive to try.
On behalf of the Brian Lavalette Foundation, the Patton family.
The idea of the scholarship came from Doug Lavalette, president of the Brian Lavalette Scholarship Foundation in Northeast Wisconsin. His foundation awards dozens of scholarships honoring fallen veterans throughout Wisconsin and the United States. And when he was introduced to Waters in the Liberation Festival in Pilsen several years ago, he found the lasting legacy of American soldiers in Pilsen to be a perfect fit.
When you listen to the people who continue to remember our soldiers and our America and our sacrifices, how could we not be touched by that? Because it's not like that in every other part of the world. And they haven't forgotten. It's almost 70 years, Mark, since the liberation, and they haven't forgotten.
This year's recipient is a high school graduate from Pilsen planning a career in community service. And she already sees the scholarship impacting more than just her life.
I think it's a great opportunity to connect the Czech Republic, and not only the Czech Republic, but Europe, with the United States.
The U.S. ambassador to the Czech Republic also views the scholarship as a way to bring the two nations even closer together.
Like with keeping democracy alive, we need to keep the friendship between our two countries alive too. You got to be moving forward, you have to be trying new things. That's why we're so pleased to welcome the Lavalette Scholarship here.
And for Adela, the scholarship money she receives comes as somewhat a surprise, since her desired profession is in community service. And jobs like the military, police officers, and teachers are not well respected because those were the jobs held by communists, and the stigma has not yet disappeared.
It offers new options, I believe, but on the other hand, I think it shows it's too bad the Czech Republic is unable to stand up to the fact that humanitarian help and working for society is not really respected and that there aren't any awards for it.
But the Scholarship of Honor looks to restore pride in wanting to give back. It's a link between Pilsen and Northeast Wisconsin that has roots.
I think it's partly because most of our area was developed by people from these countries way back 1800s, and it's part of our experience growing up with that kind of culture.
Values of sacrifice and commitment and caring for others, and we want to see those layered over a society that under communism kind of lost those values.
And as time takes from us our World War II veterans, the city of Pilsen will have to rely in part on the scholarship and the future generations it will touch to keep its history alive during the annual Liberation Festival.
Well, it is an unusual city in its love of the United States. I think the Czech Republic as a whole, very pro-U.S.
U.S. Ambassador to the Czech Republic Norman Eisen has witnessed the bond between Pilsen residents and American veterans firsthand since being appointed to the post back in 2011. He joined Pilsen Mayor Martin Baxa during this year's Liberation Festival. Baxa was elected mayor in 2010.
You asked me what was accomplished by the Liberation Festival. It's deepening our cooperation and friendship between the US and the Czech Republic, and also building on those good ties and those foundations, creating good ties and creating a sense of oneness between the two nations.
That sense of oneness could be seen as American World War II veterans took part in an open forum with the people of Pilsen, a regular feature of the festival.
Hello. Hello.
It offers a chance to share stories, get caught up on the past, and make new connections.
Some of us have been here many times before, and you may understand that that's one of the reasons that we keep returning all these years.
Each year there are fewer connections to the past, but the thrill of getting pictures and autographs of these heroes continues to grow stronger.
And for me, is it amazing time to spend with them.
I think it's great. It's a great opportunity to welcome all these veterans who are real heroes.
And I think the people have to come here because the veterans can give them a lot of things what they saw in the war, and the peoples are forgetting that. And I think they don't have to forget it because it's so interesting for us.
It humbles me. It humbles me because I'm nobody. And here, what my autograph, you know, just because they honored the Americans.
As much as the Liberation Festival cherishes the return of World War II veterans to Pilsen, it is also a time to honor and remember those who died for the freedom being enjoyed here. Pilsen recognizes the service and sacrifice of the Americans, and the surviving World War II veterans pay homage to their fallen comrades.
There are 3 of us here today from the 2nd Infantry Division representing those who could not be here and those who never had a chance to arrive here in 1945.
Throughout the city, there are various memorials recognizing the different units of the U.S. Army and other Allied soldiers that fought in Pilsen during the war. They are monuments marking the history of the city and the men and the women who helped to make it what it is today.
There are monuments, there are tombstones and commemoration plaques scattered throughout the Czech Republic